We've been full-time on the road now for just about 3 years, and staying connected to the internet is unfortunately not a nice to have for us, but a must have because of our full-time jobs. Our setup in our 2015 Integra Aspire has evolved quite a bit over the years, and at this point we really feel like we stay connected most of the time without really worrying about it much at all. So come on with us for a quick tour of our bus and we'll show you how we set it up. After we get done completing the tour of our setup, we're going to also review a couple different connectivity solutions that are available on the market and are a little bit easier on the wallet with different features and benefits than our setup, so those might work for you as well. But enough of that, let's go on inside and get on with the tour. Welcome to the living room in our home, and this is actually where all our technology equipment resides. Most RVs have a central wiring area. It's usually for entertainment purposes. It allows users and installers to have a central place to control and wire all of the various pieces of technology in an RV. And for us, that cabinet is located right here below this television in the front of our bus. As a result, we decided to install our technology equipment behind this TV because it gave us access to the main wiring area for our bus, and it kept all of our equipment hidden and out of the way and utilized a piece of space that otherwise was going to go unutilized. So we're going to take this TV down and show you the setup. All right, so the TV is down. I also took down the TV mount here just so we had a little more visibility about what's in here and what's going on. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot of wires here, but there's actually really only 3 components here that make up the bulk of our connectivity solution. There is a fourth component on the roof that we'll cover shortly as well, but for now we're going to go through what each of these do. So this is the heart of our connectivity solution. This is a mobile router made by a company called Pepwave. This is called the Peplink Max BR1 is the model number. And essentially what this is this is very similar to your home router in that it takes a internet connection. In the case of this unit, it's an internet connection from Verizon and from AT&T, and we'll go into that in a minute, as well as potentially wireless from a campground or another source, and it rebroadcasts that internet internally into the coach, both for wireless devices like your phones or your laptops that aren't connected, and also for wired devices like this, for instance, is a printer, and this is actually a wire that goes to other components like my desk PC. The second main component in our solution is our cellular booster. This is the brain of the cellular booster. This is a residential unit, not for RV use, but WeBoost makes a unit called, I believe it's called the Drive. I'll put a link to that as well. That's for RV or for truck use. They're essentially the same. This is just a slightly more powerful unit, and it uses different cabling that's more suitable for home use, but we recommend you definitely go with the RV model. What this does is it takes your cell signal, so just like you'd have on your phone, and it boosts it. So in a situation where you have like 1 bar on your Verizon signal and very poor cellular data, this will increase that significantly. We typically find that if we have 1 bar, this will get us to about 3 bars. So it increases by about 50%. I'm sure that's not an exact number, and it's very dependent on where you're located, but we love this unit, and it boosts multiple different carriers, including AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint as well, as do the models that are made for RV use. This right here is the inside antenna for this. So there's just a wire here that's coming out of here and connecting right into this. This is the inside antenna that is providing the boosted signal to all of our cellular devices, including our mobile router, which has cellular antennas here that are taking advantage of this booster. There's another antenna on the roof for this, which is the external booster antenna that's picking up the signal from the towers, and then it's rebroadcasting it inside here. The third component we have here is right here, which is our Verizon home phone. Essentially what this does is this antenna here is also taking advantage of the booster. That's why they're all so close together, and it's picking up Verizon home phone service, which is essentially giving me a regular dial tone like you would have in your house, and it's coming out of this cable here, which goes to the phone on my desk. So let's go a little bit more into the Pepwave and how it works. Now, first off, this is a business grade solution. It's expensive. These are about $500 to purchase. And you definitely don't need to go with something this rugged. There's a product made by Cradlepoint that's in the $200 price point that's great. It actually comes factory installed in some of the high-end Integra coaches. And you can also just get a little MiFi hotspot from Verizon or AT&T, and those will work just as well. But this does give me certain advantages that I'll talk through. The first advantage we really like about the Pepwave is these big antennas that we see here. These pick up the cellular signal from our unlimited data plans from Verizon and AT&T, and because these antennas are so big, they're quite a bit more efficient in conjunction with the cellular booster at making sure we really maximize the speed of our internet signal. Conversely, a device like this, a MiFi device, this is an AT&T device, as you can see the antenna is probably somewhere inside here embedded, so it's not going to pick up as much of a signal. You can still place these next to a booster and it will absolutely improve the signal, but the Pepwave gives you a little bit more power when it comes to picking up the internet. As you can see here, right up top, you see these small little things right here? These are our SIM cards. So we've got our Verizon card there, and then just behind it there's our AT&T card. What's nice about that is this Pepwave can determine what carrier to use. It can use either AT&T or Verizon, and it can switch independently between both of them if one of them is not giving us a connection. We do, in this particular case, use the same modem inside here for both AT&T and Verizon. Why does that matter? Well, if it has to switch between AT&T and Verizon, it usually takes about a minute or two for it to reboot on the other system. So it's not instantaneous, and it can't combine the two internet connections either in this unit. They do make a higher end unit that's like $1,000 or close to it that can do that with multiple modems, but we find that this works absolutely perfect, and we're okay waiting a minute if we want to switch between our carriers. This antenna right here broadcasts wireless throughout our coach. So these two are picking up the cellular, as I said before, and then this is rebroadcasting inside of our RV, so we have our own private Wi-Fi network, just like you would in your home. If anyone is curious what this port right here, or this antenna connection right here does, it's for a GPS antenna. Since the Pepwaves are designed for commercial use, they actually provide internet access to police vehicles, to ambulances, to fire, as well as to municipal buses. That's pretty much their primary use. So they're really reliable. This one's designed to support up to 60 people. So that definitely comes in handy. But this GPS port means that technically we can go online and we can track where our bus is located at any time if we enable this. So that's kind of like a nice LoJack feature, I guess, provided no one disconnected it, but it would report where it was last seen on the web. So that's kind of an interesting feature that we have yet to use, but we may in the future. What you might have also noticed is that we have an AC power strip here that's powering the Pepwave, it's powering the cell booster, and it's also powering the Verizon box. If we could do this again and we didn't have components we already own, we wouldn't use AC, we would use 12 volt. The Pepwave, I'm not sure you can see right here, actually has a 12 volt connection here, so you can hook it right up to your 12 volt power source, and any of the WeBoost drive models that are designed for RV use will have 12 volt connections as well. Now with all this equipment located behind a TV in a pretty tight spot, it's pretty hard to get to. Now after being 3 years on the road, that's one of the reasons we love the Pepwave. It just works. We barely ever have to touch it. Maybe we reboot it once a month tops, but in the event that we want to turn off the cell booster, say we're in a really good service area where the booster is really not needed, we've installed switches down here in this area right here that allow us to turn on and off the router and the booster so that we can control them without having to move the TV. All right, so welcome to the roof. This is where the fourth and final component to our setup is, but before we get up front, this is the antenna for our cell booster, and this is a residential grade antenna, so it's not going to take a hit from a tree very well, but it's pretty much on par with the height of our air conditioners, and we haven't had a problem. But again, the RV specific model is going to have an RV specific antenna. All right, home stretch. This is the final component of our solution right here, and it's our Wi-Fi Ranger roof antenna. Essentially what this does is, this is an amplified receiver. It's in a receiver mode right now, and it's picking up wireless signals from either campgrounds or houses or wherever we have access to. This has got quite a bit of range. It can pick up signals from pretty far, much further than you would be able to inside of a laptop or a cell phone. So this has a wire that's going down from the roof, and it's plugged into our Pepwave, and the Pepwave can essentially use this as an internet source. Now, that's a lot of different solutions, and it's definitely not the most economical way to build the solution. But Wi-Fi Ranger absolutely has a kit that comes with this roof antenna and an interior device that allows you to wire devices in and have wireless inside your coach. We'll get into that when we go inside and talk about some other solutions. So welcome to my office. This is where I work every single day, so computer and keyboard and all that stuff. We're going to do a subsequent video on all of the specifics related to how we work every day, things like, you know, headsets and how we do calls and video conferencing and all that. So make sure to subscribe, and in the meantime, you can check out a video. We did an overview of our entire coach, which is available here. We did that a few weeks back, and you can kind of see all of the high-level stuff of our setup. But that's essentially our connectivity setup. So that's how we connect to the internet. And yes, it's complicated, and there's a lot of moving parts and pieces, as we said. So now I'm going to move on and talk about some of the solutions that are actually available on the market today that we have had some experience with, that we might have actually gone with if they were available and if we didn't own other existing equipment before we got started. Before we go into some of the more complicated setups, let's talk about kind of the bare bones essential setup that would work for most folks, and that's using one of these MiFi devices. One of these is, you know, available from just about any carrier. We find that Verizon, AT&T are kind of the best in terms of coverage. We have heard a lot of folks are happy with Cricket, which runs on the AT&T network. It's sort of like a secondary carrier that uses the same network, and we've actually recently heard from a lot of T-Mobile folks that they're having a pretty good experience with that network as well. But as an example, Mark and Julie from RV Love, other fellow bloggers, there's a link to their blog right there. This is how they connect. They have two of these, one for each of them, and they've been on the road full-time longer than we have, and this is their connectivity setup, and they've been pretty happy. These do work, as I said before, in conjunction with cell boosters. They make a cheaper booster that's literally a small little cradle that you can put in the front of, you know, plug it right into a cigarette lighter, and then just place this right inside that cradle, and that'll get you an extra bar or so. Not as powerful as one of these boosters, but that's a pretty good, inexpensive way to get connected. Moving on to a solution that is going to cost you a little bit more money but get you some additional features. We really like some of the new products that are coming out of Wi-Fi Ranger, which is a company that makes RV and boat specific connectivity solutions. Evan and his team actually sent us some demo units about 2 years back. We hadn't done a video on it because we did have some challenges with that equipment, and they were great managing it, but we worked together to talk about some of the issues that we had with it, and they've just released, well, it's about 3 or 4 months or 6 months ago, they just released a new product line, and we've heard really good things about that product line. So keeping it really high level, they have a bunch of different models, but they're kind of middle of the road two models. I'll put the link of the kind of lower tier model that we think does a lot for the money right here is a great solution. So you get a roof mounted antenna so you can capture Wi-Fi from campgrounds or from private internet if you're staying at someone's house, as well as a device inside the coach. It's also a router, but it connects to that roof antenna, and then it gives you the wired connections just like our setup. The other thing about the Wi-Fi Ranger solution we really like is that it has a port on the side so you can connect a cellular device like a MiFi or a USB modem to that, and the Wi-Fi Ranger will automatically, depending on how you configure it, allow you to connect to cellular, or it will grab the campground Wi-Fi, or it can do some pretty interesting things with combining those connections and all sorts of things. So it's a really solid product that comes with technical support, which is probably the best thing about it. Bunch of smart guys, US based. You know, if you have any problems, you can reach out to them, and you know, they'll help you with the setup, and they'll also, you know, give you best practices, and they've just been really good. Over the time we've been testing their products, they've released updates, they've made sure the security patches are always available to their customers. Really solid product. If you're interested in looking at a Wi-Fi Ranger product, they did give us a referral code for you guys that'll get you 5% off absolutely anything in their store, and that's down here at the bottom of the video. So that's a little incentive to check them out, but honestly, it's a really good product and a great option. So two more quick options. One we mentioned earlier in the video, which is the Cradle Point solution. That's a very interesting solution. It doesn't, I believe, have an exterior roof antenna with that solution, so there is some limitation to that. But if you're going to rely just on the 4G connections, that's a solid $250 option that I know a lot of folks have been using and they're really happy with. The last option I'll talk to you about is probably the cheapest price point, and it's made by the same company that makes our router. It's called the Pepwave Surf on the Go, and it's a $120 device. I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be available, but it is available right now, and it's sort of like a mini version of our unit. So you can plug in a MiFi device. It's got a larger antenna on it so that it will be able to give you a bit more range than a MiFi device, and it does come with small little suction cups, so you can put it up against the window and it will pick up campground Wi-Fi and repeat that inside your coach. So that's a pretty good option. It also has a wired port, only one port, but then you can connect a wired device like a computer to that to get a little bit more speed as well. So that's a pretty solid $120 option. So that's our setup. As you can see, there's a lot of different ways to stay connected while you're on the road, and not really any of them are particularly right or wrong. It's really dependent on the features that are important to you, how you want to get connected, and your budget. But let's keep the conversation going. Our full blog article has a comment section. We'd love to hear from you there. We'll be responding to any questions or comments there, as well as on YouTube in the comments section. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the road.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You can also subscribe to the blog directly on LivinLite.net, and you'll receive email updates of all of our posts.